Hey guys, I've been checking out this Sony RX0 Mark II for a couple of weeks, and it's pretty interesting. I think the first place to start is that this is not an action camera, which is what I sort of thought it was going to be when I first saw it. I think when these first came out, there were going to be some sort of comparisons against the FDR range, which we've actually reviewed before, and I wasn't a super big fan of. But these are actually quite different. These are currently being marketed to vloggers, and I find that quite interesting because Sony's actually doing a lot towards vlogging at the moment, I guess just down to its popularity. But I think the thing with vloggers is a lot of vloggers just make do with what they can. I started our vlogs on a GoPro with a mic just like this, and it was absolutely fine. I mean, it was, you know, GoPro effect and it wasn't amazing, but it was some way to start and it got the ball rolling. This is far and beyond what I started with. Just for a comparison, I mean, one of the big things with me, particularly when it comes to carrying around gear, is smaller is obviously better. Unless of course Alex is carrying it, then I don't care. But usually if it's just me or if it's people that aren't part of the crew and I'm doing a vlog, I want the smallest thing I can take, which usually at the moment is this 6500 with a much shorter lens on it. But when I started, I had a GoPro. Now this Sony is about the same size as the GoPro, more or less. It's as thick at its thickest point, and it's about as wide. They're very comparable in size. So keeping that in mind, this is a very, very small, very, very powerful unit. So you've got to keep in mind that this is not something that you're going to be mounting to your helmet. This is almost more like a secondary to camera. To me, it's like a secondary camera because I've got bigger, more capable cameras. If this is where you're starting for your first camera, this could potentially be really, really good. One of the first things that I would always look into in any camera is onboard sound. For example, the GoPro Hero 6 onboard sound, pretty crap. The GoPro Hero 4 onboard sound, which is what I started with, diabolical. I'm not entirely sure with the 7, but I don't think it's amazing. The onboard sound with this is incredibly impressive for what it is. For a camera this size to have that good sound is unusual at best, but I'll roll you a little clip here. This is an audio test for the RX02. Audio test, we're standing next to a waterfall and moving around and vlogging and stuff, so we will be checking this audio when we get back. This is the onboard audio, no external microphone. And I nearly slipped. So that's straight out of the camera. That's impressive. But what you can do is, it's got a 3.5mm jack, so you can plug in something like a little Rode or a little Shure or whatever you've got. So you can get better quality sound than what's on board, but if this is all you've got, it's not bad. And if you've got a little bit of software, you can tune that sound and get it a lot better. Which is what I used to do with my old Sony A51. Now you notice the trend here, I am a Sony fanboy, but that's for a number of reasons. I like the gear, I like the interface, it's what I'm used to, I've got the lenses for it, yada yada yada. But yeah, this is by no means biased, it's still a review. So I guess the real question with this is, if it's not an action cam, well, what is it? And again, there has been the vlogging angle for it, and if it's your first camera and you're getting it to become a vlogger or something like that, it's a pretty good place to start. You're going to want to use external lighting if you're using it in a low light environment, like your bedroom at night or something like that. Get yourself a ring light. But outside, no, it's pretty good. The low light sensitivity's a little low, like it's not anywhere near as good as my 6500, but that's got a much bigger lens. But it's a great place to start, and if you know that the light's a little bit, you know, you need a little bit extra light, then you can just accommodate that, the same with the sound. So there didn't seem to be any jumping or jittering or anything like that. That was a pretty tough lighting condition as well. Actually doing a photo shoot that day and the lighting was going from underlit to incredibly harsh, so it actually performed really well. Actually, a note on that, if you are accommodating with sound, this no longer becomes waterproof. It has got, I think, 30 meters for 10 minutes or something like that. It's the normal jazz. One great use for this camera, for someone like me, is if I'm using my A6500 and I'm using that to interview someone and I've got the sound going into this, I can use the RXO and have it as a secondary camera for an alternative angle. Having a secondary angle is great for being able to swap between cuts and takes and things like that, just so you get a bit more of a flow and an interesting dynamic. So for that, it's pretty good. Some of the other features is it's got the little flip up screen. That's pretty handy if you want to if you want to see yourself for your establishing shot. However, it does go off to save power, or whatever reason it does. It doesn't stay on for very long, but you can see if you've got yourself framed, which is good. Unfortunately, what it doesn't do is once it's rolling, the focus is locked. It does have a good autofocus, but once the camera is rolling, that focus is locked to the position where it started filming, which is annoying for a vlogger, because you might be going along, talk, and then you say, oh, look at that thing. Well, you're out of focus because it's focused on you at this length. And that would possibly be a deal breaker for me for an only camera, just because the amount of time we'll be at a car show and we'll be like, oh, look at that car, and then you turn the camera, you look at the car, you turn back, something's out of focus. Out of focus footage is annoying. In terms of the interface, if you're new to Sony, it could be a little bit intimidating. Sony menus do go to quite a lot of depth at times, and certainly trying to find a specific thing can be tricky. If you're coming from a GoPro, which is dead easy to use, this will be a little bit of a learning curve, but you'll get there. The reason that it doesn't bother me is, as I said, all of my gear other than that GoPro is Sony, and the menus are the same, and for all intent and purpose it's the exact same menu, other than it's a few differences between that camera, and this camera. Other than that, I would say that if it's your first camera and you're just getting into YouTube, this is a great buy. You might want to think about external lighting, external microphones, if those are going to be important to you. Audio is certainly very important to me. And if you've already got a camera, maybe you've got a 6500 or something like that, and you want to get a secondary camera for your B-roll or whatever it is, this is brilliant. This is actually really, really good. To me, this would be about my fourth in an arsenal, and I would still find many uses for it. Popping it down for a time lapse, things like that. Small, it's indiscreet, people aren't going to notice it. The camera that we're filming on now is a handy cam and a rig with a big mic and all that stuff, and if you point that in people's faces, they get very, very intimidated very quickly. Whereas this, you can't even really tell what's going on. It's very, very inconspicuous, which for a lot of people can be nice. And also if you're out in public and you're filming yourself, and I mean, like, holding this up is less conspicuous than holding your own phone up, so that's pretty cool. Final thoughts: it's a lot of power in a small package with a few little bits and pieces that might be deal breakers for some people, but it's a brilliant place to start to get your YouTube career rolling. And actually, if you're a traveler too, this would be brilliant. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe for a lot more content like this. And also, quick note, if you're watching this on YouTube, head over to the website. I'll put the link below, because we'll put all the facts and specs and stuff like that in the website link with this video, just because it's too much to put on a YouTube description. And we'd like you to visit our website. There's plenty more content there. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Cheers.